Shanelle again, and we are here once again hoping to inspire you to bring out God's best in you. So with that being said, I hope that you're showing out on your runway of life, because everybody's just waiting for you to make your grand debut featuring the greatest version of you. We're talking today about finding balance, and of course in your relationships. Many of the women that I talk to have been in very serious relationships or marriages, and we want to discover what comes next after the breakup. And so hopefully that the breakup situation doesn't happen very, very often in your life. When this huge breakup happened for me, I was coming out of a 9-year marriage. And unfortunately, once everything was kind of said and done, in those quiet moments, those moments where things had kind of settled down, and unfortunately lonely moments, I found myself wondering, okay, what's next? 9 years previously being in a marriage, and then we dated time before that, so it was kind of like something new for me, brand new for me. And the realization hit that this is going to be a new normal for me, and I need to figure out how to get through this. I need to figure out what's next. Like, really, what's next? So during the time of the breakup and everything, you got so much going on, and you don't really get to take the necessary steps for you to heal and to really be your greatest version, because you're emotional, and your emotions are just all over the place. You're angry, you're upset, you're frustrated, you're happy, you're relieved, you're everything. Everything is just, you're just all over the place. But then when you finally settle down again, like I said, it was like, okay, what's next? What do I do? What am I supposed to do now? That's what we're going to talk about today, because of course, I want you to be the greatest version of yourself. And my goal is to bring out God's best in you and to inspire you to want that. I will say the healing process begins when you do all of these steps. Now, you may not do these steps in the order I'm going to go through it right now, but you cannot miss any of these steps in order for you to have that balance, that transformation, and ultimately the healing that you really, really desire to have. First step I want you to think about is the grieving process. Remember, your relationship and the demise of your relationship or the breakup of your relationship is just like losing a loved one. I don't care how bad the relationship was. Once the final papers are signed, or they moved out, or whatever caused the final part of the relationship to end, it's like a death. It's literally the death of your hopes and your dreams that you planned together, the death of just the relationship. It is up in flames and it is gone. So you have to take the time to grieve that. I will admit to you that there will be times where I was just good, and then there will be times where I would just burst into tears, like out of nowhere. And so the grieving process may take as short of time or as long of a time as you need. But I do want to encourage you, don't rush the grieving process. Go through it. Go through it, honey, because once you go through it, then you don't have to go back through it again. So go through the grieving process. Give yourself permission to cry. This is something that I felt like even like 6 months later, I was like, why am I crying? But I gave myself permission to cry, because that's just the way I deal with grief. Okay, so give yourself permission to cry. And then lastly, acceptance. That's part of the grieving process. Acceptance that this is the way it is. Accepting that this is the path, the journey that God, for whatever reason, is taking you down right now in life, and that God's grace is sufficient for you. Okay, remember that at all times, God's grace is sufficient enough for you, and that you are going to get through this. Number 2, Surround yourself with people with compassion. Surround yourself with compassion. Now, our family and our friends, most of the time they mean well. Often they have an opinion, they have something to say, they're trying to help, and they want to fix the relationship, or they want to fix you. And this is not what you need right now. This is not what you need right now, okay? Again, I said they mean well. But you don't need to be fixed. This is not the time for you to get fixing, okay? The people that you should surround yourself with are people that really, frankly, are neutral. People that didn't know me, they didn't know him, were the biggest inspirers for me in my life at that time. Because they didn't need to give me an opinion for anything. They were just simply there. Simply there. To listen when I needed to just vent. To be there just to support and just be there. So I'm not looking crazy, venting to myself. And then if I asked or requested guidance, they could offer guidance. So there were people there with wisdom that can offer guidance when I requested it. But they didn't just barge in and try to fix me. Okay? So there's a difference. And remember that. When you're going through, look for people that will just simply be there. Okay? They love you and you can trust them, and they're God-fearing people, and they're just there for you. Step number 3 you need to do is examine the failures. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not the time to point fingers, to blame anyone. This is the time to simply just look and examine the failures, because when you humble yourself and examine what went wrong, regardless of who it was to blame, you can find the lessons that God want to teach you and that you need to learn. And I'm going to be honest with you, honey. When you don't learn the lesson the first time, God has a way of sending the test back around again and again and again and again until you learn the lesson. So this step is very important when you can examine the failures in the relationship. Maybe the relationship got off to rocky foundation, where I'm just going to throw this out there as an example, where you saw this guy saw you, and you thought he just need a little bit of me to fix him up and get him right, and he gonna be good to go. No. If he is not already who he need to be for you, and that God created him just for you, your little fixing him up is not gonna change him, honey. Okay? So that is an example of a rocky start, a rocky foundation. And a rocky foundation is not going to stand the test of time, honey. So when you are looking at the failures of the relationship, the failures of just everything that went wrong, look for those lessons, those type of lessons, because patterns like that, you have to break those patterns. Because if you continue that pattern, you're going to continue to have the same results. Right? We don't want to become insane with this. We need to change up some things so that we can get different results the next time. So looking for the failures, examining the failures is very, very crucial in the healing process. The next step is to forgive. I talk to a lot of women, okay? A lot of women. And some men, actually. And I have never, myself included, never found someone in a relationship that did not work out, well, where one person in the relationship was 100% perfect. Never found that. So, humbly I say to you that we all played our part in the demise of our relationships. So we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves for getting out of character, for saying the things we shouldn't have said, doing the things we did, being annoying, or whatever it was. We got to forgive ourselves. We got to forgive the other person as well. When we forgive our exes, it's not really for them. It's for us. It's for you to move forward. For me to move forward, I had to forgive my ex. For me to move forward, I have to forgive any people that I was in relationships with, that didn't work out. I had to forgive them and move on. Okay? And so this I may make it sound simple, and I know it probably isn't, but you must forgive yourself and forgive him for the part that they played in the relationship. Lastly, become the person that you love. The characteristics, the uniqueness about you, embrace all of that and become that. Now, here's the thing. When you're in the grieving process, I'm not telling you to go home and sit in sackcloth and ashes and pajamas for 6 months because you're in the grieving process. No. We don't got time for that, honey. We're not living to be 500 years old. So what I'm saying to you is, yes, you're going to cry. You're going to go through what you're going through. But you want to also make sure that you're learning the lessons so that you can become the best person. I want to be the best Shanelle. I want you to be the best you that you can be. Recreate yourself to be the greatest, okay? Do the things that you've always wanted to do. Travel if that's one of the things that's on your list. Match your actions and your responses with your expectations and your desires. Okay? So for example, I'm just trying to think of something. If you meet someone and you're in a good place to start dating again, and you meet someone and you just kind of have your non-negotiables, is what I like to call them. You have your non-negotiables, and something that he does or a part of him is on your list of non-negotiables, then your actions should reflect that you don't continue to go down that path with him. Not that he's a bad person, but you want someone that's going to continue to bring out the best in you, and you can bring out the best in them. We're not trying to change people, okay? We're not trying to change people, and we're not trying to get people to change us. Only God can do that. Make your responses and your actions match your desires and your expectations. Again, like I said, become rich. 7-day discovery challenge. This is an opportunity that a lot of women are taking, absolutely free. An opportunity for them just to really vent and reflect on the things that are out of balance in their life. Because when you're out of balance, you don't have that fulfillment that you so desire to have. And so when you realize that my life is out of balance, you take the 7-day discovery challenge. And you realize that, and you work toward getting that balance back in your life, and ultimately you become rich. That is the goal in everything that I'm talking about here, is to become rich when you realize that I create happiness. God is giving us the wonderful, wonderful opportunity of choice where we can create happiness all on our own. With him. We don't need someone else to validate us to be happy. Okay? So once you get to that point and you realize that I create happiness, you don't settle for foolishness. You don't settle for mediocrity. You don't settle for things that would take away from your happiness, that would take away from your peace, that will take away from your joy. Right? You don't do those things. You become rich where you realize I create happiness. And hey, Joe, if you want to join me and be rich, certainly you could do that. But if you're taking away from my peace and my joy and my happiness, then you got to go. All right? So, ladies, I hope this really, really helped you, and I hope that this has inspired you. And of course, if you do want to chat, of course, definitely you want to sign up for the 7-day discovery challenge. Any information that you need, that you want to get in touch with me, or how to get in touch with me, is in the links below. So take advantage of that, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. It's your girl Shanelle again. Talk to y'all soon.